Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Thursday, the 15th of April, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar index. It's had a pretty bad week, actually. We've just seen a further sell-off on that medium-term trend, and on the short term, we're below the cloud. Remembering this is my weekly, my daily, and my 60-minute chart, giving me a long-term, medium-term, and short-term view of the market with the corresponding point and figure targets. So, medium-term, we still are undergoing this recovery, but we are coming back as we've seen in this week, but the medium-term trend and the long-term trend is still one of a turnaround. But we shouldn't be surprised to see resistance hitting the dollar at some point when we get into the cloud. Remember, above the cloud is bullish, below is bearish. That's the general rule. So here we are on the euro, long-term bullish, medium-term bearish, and short-term bullish. We've had a stronger week against that weaker dollar. Taking a look at sterling, we're sitting at 137.88, improving against that weaker dollar this week. And if you look at sterling against the euro, hovering around this 115 level now for quite a few days. So we did have quite a big fall off last week, but we've seemed to have found support around the 115 mark. Taking a look now at Bitcoin, sitting at $63,000, just come back a little bit, but still bullish on all three time frames with good upside targets. The S&P 500 index was down 0.4% yesterday, and the Nasdaq, having just made a new high on the Nasdaq 100, we've just come back to that level. So this 14,000 level on the Nasdaq 100 is just proving an interesting level. Not massive upside targets for the Nasdaq, so it's quite interesting that we are seeing we will get a new upside target on this, but of course we need to pull back and activate it. So for the moment, calling the Nasdaq higher is a bit more challenging than the main market. If we look at the S&P 500 index, there's more targets for the main market in general. Taking a look at the futures, we should have a better day today on the markets. The S&P futures up 0.3%. The Nasdaq E-mini is up 0.4%. So looking like a stronger opening. The VIX volatility sitting just below 17. Markets have no real fear built in based on the fear index. The FTSE futures up 0.4% this morning. DAX in Germany unchanged, and the CAC Quarante much the same picture there. We're just waiting for the market to open. Looking at Japan, we're up 0.3%, and looking at the Hang Seng, we were down 0.6%. The Chinese market down 0.5%, and the Indian market down 0.5%. It's had a pretty bad week with that big fall on Monday. Coronavirus cases still quite high there, and we'll take a look at the stats shortly. The Aussie market at 7,000, breaking that 7,000 level, so looking stronger there. So that's good news for Oz. Looking at gold, we're sitting at 1746, just pushing higher, short-term bullish there, and silver also just getting back above the cloud as well. Yields, we're seeing 10-year bond yields down 1.6%, 1.63, so just heading lower this week. The same with the 30-year yield as well. Energy mix, Brent crude has gone higher. These targets that were given in the week now being met. We've got a new medium-term upside target. Notice how these targets have all been met. Finding support on the cloud. Be interesting to see, can we break that $70 mark? That's going to be the critical thing. We've got a target of 71.83, but end of a strong week for crude. WTI also pushing higher, of course, so looking stronger there. US nat gas, we were bullish on at 250 this week. That trend continues. Big jump there. Storage numbers today, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Coal, 72.50, so starting to push to make new highs. Good upside targets. Just a shortage of targets on the 1 minute chart. Keep an eye on your OTC data for better granularity of data for the targets. Looking at the emissions chart, we do have a downside target, but for the moment the trend is very much up, so wait for new targets to kick in there. MBP is up this morning, nearly 1%, pushing higher. TTF hitting actually resistance at the moment at around 20 euros is actually proving to be a resistance point, but we've got quite a good number of upside targets there. German power sitting at 56.95, just pulling back a little bit, and Nordic power also looking lower. A quick look at the coronavirus stats. This is cases. Germany looking worrying, still just pushing to higher there. Many other countries managing to suppress their rates. France also not looking great. If we look at the fatalities, though, Germany again kicking up there. 6 times as the number of fatalities. If we look at cases, UK, Germany's got 10 times the number of cases. Very hard to compare like with cases, but of course fatalities is a bit more clear, and we've got about 6.5 times as many fatalities in Germany at the moment. France sitting really at about 9 times, nearly 10 times the number of deaths in the UK, so that's worrying as well. Bulgaria pushing higher, Poland still looking very, very worrying. And a lot of these charts still going up. Hungary also looking worrying. So interestingly, this coronavirus story, it's gone away in terms of markets, but it's really still there on the underlying chart. So just one to watch. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.